Yeah. Just like a little warning, that it is a very long mimer. Not only long, but it's also that element of complexity there. And generally, in every mimer, there is this um, the Rebbe doesn't really easily gives us the answers because the answers don't lie necessarily in information, but lies more in how we perceive things. And therefore, mimer sometimes could have different turns because the Rebbe is not really just giving us information, but there is a transformative nature of the mimer where we change our thought process. This is the bottom line, because it's not just giving us the right answers. Um, all the answers for this mimer is in paragraph 9, which I shared. But when you read it, it's like, okay, it didn't really change you, right? It's like just information. When we go through all the not 8 paragraphs, then that starts making sense. Then it becomes, oh, aha moment. Because the Rebbe is really taking you through that process. And obviously there are elements of bittul, meaning sometimes you'll see in the mimer the Rebbe is saying things that don't really make sense to us because it's like, it becomes very detailed, becomes very technical, and explaining this and explaining that level, and so on and so forth. And I noticed that um, that specifically happens when it's like kind of like breaking through our own ego in understanding of what the mimer is. That's when the Rebbe makes sure that you come to conclusions that you don't understand, and that's excellent because when we let go of our own perceptions, this is exactly the time to acquire a new one. So we are open to acquire a new perception. But if we are so full of ourselves that we understand very perfectly, everything lays beautifully, then we are pretty much concluding with our own understanding, and there's no transformation can take place in such a thing. Now, Tefillah L'Moshe is actually a very beautiful mimer where the Rebbe lays down the 2 levels of chisaron, of lack, and the 3rd level of assurance. And the Rebbe takes us through this journey of explaining how this is possible, that in the same world we can have 2 levels of chisaron, of lack. At the same time, we have this level of assurance. And where is this coming from? Why can we have such a level? Um, and so on and so forth. And how can we attain it? Okay. Any questions so far? No? No. Okay, beautiful. So I'll share my screen with a mimer. So this is Kuntras Yud Aleph Nisan that I've gave it for Yud Aleph Nisan Tafshin Nun Aleph. And interestingly, this mimer was actually said in Tafshin Chavtes. Why is it? Yeah, right here, Tafshin Chavtes. Because in Tafshin Chavtes, it started the 90th year of the Frierdiker Rebbe. So the Rebbe gave this mimer. And when Nun Aleph, it was 90th year for the Rebbe gave out this mimer again. Okay, let's begin. Tefila L'Moshe, Ish Elokim, Isha Elokim. Yeah, Tefila L'Moshe is a man of God. V'vayir Kvod Ushad Mori V'chami Admur. V'sichasa HaYidua. The Mizmor Zeh Shayach L'Geula D'Yutas Kislev. And the Frierdiker Rebbe explains in his famous Sicha that this Mizmor, that this capital 90 in Tehillim is Shayach for the Geula of Yutas Kislev. כידוע שאדמו"ר הזקן היה אומר בכל יום שיעור תהילים כמו שנכלל לימי החודש, as it is known that the Alter Rebbe was saying the daily portion of Tehillim every single month, like we do Chidas. כיוון שהמזמור דתפילה למוישה הוא התחלת שיעור תהילים חודשי, the יום י"ט לחודש, and since Tfila Lamoshe is the 19th day for the month. Okay. That's why this Mizmor is connected with his redemption. Hare Amar B'chol Yom Geulasa Yutes Kislev, as we all know, that his day was Yutes Kislev. Mizmor Zeh, this Mizmor. Umamshech B'sicha, and he continues in the Sicha, Shedavid Melech Yisrael Hayalo Kabbalah, that by David HaMelech, he had a Kabbalah, meaning it was coming through him. He had a knowledge. That this Mizmor was actually compiled by Moshe Rabbeinu. The Isa b'Midrash, a Midrash says, "Echar Asar Mizmarim Amar Moshe Keneget Echad Asar Shvatim." As it says in the Midrash that Moshe Rabbeinu said 11 kapitals of Tehillim, meaning he compiled them, 11 of them, and why the Dafka 11 compared to the 11 Shvatim. And it continues in the Sicha. Shetchilat Mizmor hu Hashem ma'on ata. Right? What's the beginning of the Mizmor? The beginning of the Mizmor is that Hashem, you are our house. Ma'on. Ma'on is a house. V'siyum Mizmor, and the end of the Mizmor, okay, hu v'yi no'am Hashem. And let it be pleasant, Hashem. Ma'on v'no'am hem otam oisiyis. That if we see that Ma'on and Noam, they are the same letters. V'tzarich lahavin, and we need to understand, hakesher v'gimel ha'inyanim. We need to understand these three ideas. The shaychus of the Mizmor, Legiulas Yutas Kislev, we need to understand what's the connection between this Mizmor and Yutas Kislev. The Mizmor Zechibro Moshe, that this Mizmor was compiled by Moshe Rabbeinu. The shaychus of Ma'on and Noam. Right? These are going to be our main three questions that are going to be working throughout the whole Maamar. Right? And what's the relationship between Ma'on, house, and Noam, and pleasant? They are the same letters. And also, why we need to bring a proof from the Medrash that this Mizmor was compiled by Moshe Rabbeinu. Because the Mizmor itself says that it's Tfila L'Moshe. Why would somebody have any doubts about it? Okay, questions understood? Any questions for questions? No? Okay, V'yesh Levayr, we're going to go to base. V'yesh Levayr. And there is to understand. Al Pi HaYidua. How is it known? Shebegeula, the Yutas Kislev. Right? What exactly happened with Yutas Kislev? Right? Rabbi talks a lot about it, and there's a lot written. There was a huge shift between how Alter Rebbe was revealing Chassidus from before Yutas Kislev until after Yutas Kislev. Right? So we definitely see that Yafutza Menasecha Chutza was really pounding much greater after the Yutas Kislev. Shehu hachana v'kli simar da malka mashicha, right? Which is the spreading, the well springs of Chassidus. This is the preparation and the vessel for the Melech HaMashiach to reveal himself, right? There's a famous story about Baal Shem Tov going up into the Heichal of Mashiach, and that's what Mashiach says to him. And according to this, Hashaychus the Mizmor Zeh Legiula de Yutas Kislev, what exactly this mizmor has to do with Yutas Kislev. Moire gam al shaychus legiula atida. So we see a direct correlation. The Rebbe is now drawing a conclusion that this mizmor has a direct relationship with the future geula. Okay, why? וזהו שלאחרי עומר בהשיחה שמזמור זה שייך לגאולה יוטס כסלו, וממשיך במזמור זה חיברו מוישה, דמוישה הוא גויל ראשון, הוא גויל אחרי. So since, there's the Frierdiker Rebbe draws that conclusion in that sikha, that since Moshe Rabbeinu is the first redeemer, he's going to be the last redeemer. So that's how this mizmor is connected with the Yutas Kislev Geula and brings about every following Geula, which is, our ultimate Geula, or Medayik, right? And he also makes, he also specifies, David Melech Israel, Ayala Kabbalah, and he had this knowledge, Shemizmor ze Chibru Moshe, that this Mizmor was compiled by Moshe Rabbeinu. Okay, Shebeze Merames the Inyan Moshe Shenogia Kan. Okay, V'hu Moshe Ga'alas Israel Megolas Mitzrayim. V'shegiulas Mitzrayim Hi Hakdom L'Geula Atida. So over there in that Sikha, the Rebbe is very specific about that Melech, David Melech Israel, David HaMelech, okay, had this knowledge that this Mizmor was compiled by Moshe Rabbeinu, and that hints to us that Moshe Rabbeinu was the one who redeemed us from Golus Mitzrayim, and that was the preparation for the ultimate Geula that we are very much awaiting. Validei David Melech HaMashiach, through David Melech HaMashiach. Okay, as it says, Kimei Tzeischa Mi'eretz Mitzrayim, it says how, the same way how you went out of Mitzrayim, Areinu Niflais, I will show you wonders. Meaning, we're constantly comparing the Geula that we are awaiting to the Geulas Mitzrayim, because Geulas Mitzrayim was a stepping stone for our upcoming Geula. Okay, meaning we're using the same imprint in a way. Okay, let's continue. We are right here. Umevi es Maamar hamedrash. Right, so now we're going to go into this whole idea of 11. Remember, the Rebbe is very much into the number 11. He was born one Yud Aleph Nisan, and Rebbe brings this whole idea of 11 very much now on, because there are 11 Mizmarim that Moshe Rabbeinu compiled. Okay, maybe by Maamar hamedrash, and he brings in the Maamar of the Medrash. Okay, let's close it up. Okay, thank you. Okay, Achad Asar Mizmarim Amar Moshe. There are 11 Mizmarim that Moshe Rabbeinu said. Okay, Be'echad Asar Shnei Inyanim. That there are in 11 there are two things. Okay, meaning in the number of 11, what's the significance of the number 11? Okay, Echad, which is one, Shelifnei Ulemala Mi Eser. Who are in Sof, Shalamala mi Eser Spheres. What is 11? 11 is the one which is before 10. Which is what? Which is the unlimited light that are higher than 10 spheres. This is the significance of the number 11, right? Meaning there is 10. That's, relationship of all these 10 spheres, meaning every world is made out of 10 spheres. And then there's a number 11. Number 11 is one which is above those 10 spheres. As it says in Zar, and Huchad, he is one, v'lo b'chushban. But he's not number one, like 1, 2, 3, 4. He's one, meaning it's the Yochid, the level of Chad, one that's above any counting. Meaning, Chad Asar hu hamshachas Chad, hamshachas Echad, Chad v'lo b'chushban. What's 11? It's the manifestations of that level of one, but not in the way of counting, in the 10. Okay, so we have two here, two aspects. One, the way it's above 10 spheres, And then there is that one that goes through all the 10 spheres. Okay, why this is important, we'll see a little bit sooner. Antu chad v'lo b'chushban, ve'echad eser ha'amshachas chad v'lo b'chushban be'eser. Okay, b'chol eser spheres. Ve'at spheres hamalchus, until the lowest one is spheres hamalchus. Ve'ad rabba, ikar hamshachas b'chinas chad v'lo b'chushban hu b'malchus. The Rebbe says that it's true that it's very significant to have one which is above all 10 spheres, but a true significance is that that one that's above is actually going to permeate all 10 until the lowest sphere, which is the sphere of Malchus. Okay, because we all know that the root of Malchus is in the inner aspect of Keser. Okay, the Kol spheres, all spheres, all spheres, they are rooted in the external aspect of Keser. Okay, now, from all those who go to our Shari Yichud class, we all know what Pnimius and Chitzonius Keser, right? The Pnimius Keser is what?
Tainug.
Anug, very good. And the Chitzonius Keser is Ratzon. Okay, so all other spheres are hidden in the Ratzon, but Malchus originates in Keser. Shemimna b'minyan Eser spheres, right? Which is the 10 spheres. They are in a chitzonius keser. B'sharash malchus hu b'pnimis keser, and the root of malchus is in the inner aspect of keser. Ve'ena mimena b'minyan spheres. That truly you could say that it's not part of the 10 spheres in a way. Chad v'lo b'chushban, right? It's one, but not in a cheshbon of all the 10. Ela shebegilui, but in a revealed way. Malchus hi lemata mikol spheres. But the Rebbe says that's very interesting. When we look at Malchus, Malchus is the lowest of all spheres, right? What's going on? Okay. To the point that she becomes the source of all the worlds. Malchus of Atzilus, right? She's the source of all the worlds of Bri, Yitzir, and Asiyah. Until this physical world. And in the future we will see a true gilui, a true revelations of the Malchus. Chad v'lo b'chushban, of Chad v'lo b'chushban in the Malchus. Of Ifrat k'moshe yarda b'biyam, and especially when she actually went down through the whole process of the worlds into Bri Yitzir Esiyah, v'al yidei zeh ba'olam is biyam, ad ba'olam hazeh agashmi, until this physical world. V'adrabah, ikar ha'gilui, that the true revelation of this level of Chad v'lo b'chushban, right, of this the 11th level, is going to be in this physical world. And through this we're going to complete the kavanah of Dira b'tachtonim. Okay, she'olam hazeh hatachton she'ein tachton lamata mimenu yiyeh dira lo yizbarach lo la'atzmusi. Okay, that this physical world is going to be the dwelling place for his essence, whatever that means. Okay, v'al pi zeh yesh levaya ma maybe b'hasicha ma'amar hamedrash chad asar b'mizmor amar Moshe. So we need to now explain why in the world is he bringing in the Maamar this whole idea of 11 mizmorim that Moshe Rabbeinu said. Shebezeh miram is shaychus the mizmor Tfila l'Moshe b'geula atidem. Why is it? Because in this mizmor we see that the shaychus, right, the predisposition of this mizmor to the geula atida, to our geula. She'inyana shel mizmor zeh, that the idea of this mizmor, hu harosh v'tchila la'achad asar mizmorim. Okay, so since the capital Tzadik is the beginning of all the 11 mizmorim that's gonna come, that's Moshe Rabbeinu compiled. So he becomes the beginning. Shehu Rosh v'Tfila. This is the head and the beginning. The Echad Asar Mizmarim of the 11 Mizmarim. Hu Hamshachas Chad v'lo b'choshbon. Okay, so he is this level. This Mizmar is this level of one, but not in the counting. Okay, meaning be'eser, meaning he's not counted in the 10. L'chol eser spheres adam malchus. At the same time, it's being revealed in all 10 spheres until malchus. And through this, we need to understand. The ma'on who is Noam, that ma'on, remember, is the letters of Noam. What's ma'on? Ma'on is a house. Okay, the mavur behadrushim davar maskil tfila l'moshe. Davar maskil of tfila l'moshe. Ma'on hu malchus. Ma'on, a house, is malchus. When yikra Hashem ma'on milshon dira v'bayis, right? It's like an apartment or a house. Advar beisoy zu ishtoi, right? How do we know that malchus is a house? Because it says that your house is your wife, and the wife is the malchus of the person. Now, what's noam? Noam is a pleasantness, pleasure, ta'anuk, right? Hu atik. This is the level of atik yomin, right? What's atik yomin? This is the pnimis, I guess, the inner aspect of the crown. Okay, now we see the connection now. Ma'on oisius noam, that ma'on are the same letters of noam. Hu sheshorish malchus u'ba'atik. We see from this that the root of malchus is in atik. Yeah? Is anybody having difficulty with that? Or it's too much? יש לומר, דזה שמביא מהשיחה, בהמשך לעניין אחד עשר מעון הוא אויסיוס נועם, ולרמז שגילוי אחד ולא בחושבן עשר ספירס יהיה בעיקר במלכוס. Right? So, and why in the world is he bringing down this whole idea of ma'on is that oisius noam. It's to hint us that the main revelation of oneg is going to be in the sphere of malchus. Yeshorish malchus hu ba'atik, because truly the source of malchus is going to be in atik. So now, what have we established up until now? Anybody wants to do like a quick recap? What is known? Sarah, you're doing it the second time, so.
Okay, I could do it, yeah.
Yeah.
So from the beginning?
Yeah, in general, like what are we talking about up until now?
Okay,
like,
so yeah. This is a Maamar that the Rebbe gave for Yud Aleph Nisan, which was his 90th year. So 90th year is Perek Tzadik, and the Rebbe is speaking about this Perek, which is Tfila LeMoshe. So the Rebbe has three questions that, three things that we want to understand the connection between these three things. One is, how is it connected to the Geulah? How the connection between the three things. It was established that it's connected to the Geulah of Yutet Kislev because this is part of the Tehillim of Yom Yutet. So this is one thing that we know. It's good connected to the Geulah of Yutet Kislev. We know that Moshe Rabbeinu chiber et ze, which means Moshe Rabbeinu composed it, and we also saw that it starts Hashem ma'on ata hayita lanu. It starts with the word ma'on, and it ends, the whole perek ends v'noam Hashem Elokeinu. And we said that ma'on is house and noam is pleasure. And we want to understand in the first paragraph, the connection between these three items, the connection, the inyan of Yutet Kislev, and Moshe Rabbeinu connected it, and what is its connection to Noam and Ma'on. Then the second thing, the second paragraph that you said is that the idea of 11, that in 11 we have two aspects. We have one, Antu Chad v'lo b'chushban, completely separated from the 10, and then you have another aspect where the 10 is goes through where the 1 goes through the 10 up until it gets to Malchut. And then there was another, that was Amshachat Chad be'eser b'kol ha'sfirot. Now, it also mentions over here that Ma'on is Malchut. Why Ma'on is Malchut? Ma'on, we know, is house. And it says about a wife, Ishto hi beito, which means a wife is the house. So Ma'on is a house, which is like the wife, which is like the Malchut, because Ishto hi beito. So we know that Malchut and Ma'on is a similar idea. And Noam is pleasure. So we said that Noam is pnimiyut, the pnimiyut of the Keter, pleasure. It's a very, very high thing. So we said Ma'on and Noam are connected, which means Malchut, which we established is the same as Ma'on, is connected to Noam, which its source is in pnimiyut HaKeter.
Beautiful, Sarah. This is amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's an excellent summary. Yeah,
Can I,
so
please,
sure.
Mila, what does that mean that the 1 goes through all the Sephirot? What does it mean?
That's an excellent question. The Rebbe is going to answer it throughout the Maamar. Meaning there is a level which is beyond spheres, right? Meaning, it's a fact, right? It's called Or Ein Sof, right? An unlimited light. It's not limited by the 10 spheres. It's the essence of God. It's not limited by 10 spheres. Okay? Meaning, in general, like throughout Shara Yichud, if you're going to stay long enough, we're going to be coming to this realization that the world is not a separate thing. The world is not separate from God. The essence of God is in every detail of the world, meaning the spheres that Hashem created through which he is expressing himself, through Chachma, through Bina, through Das, and so on and so forth. But then there's level that's beyond this, that's far beyond this. Okay? Now, that doesn't help me. Okay, I know that there are 10 spheres, and then there's a level which is 11th one, which is above spheres. It doesn't make me feel good. Why? Because it's removed. It's removed from my human experience. But he adds a second detail here. He says, you know what? That 11th level is actually permeating all the levels from up until down, all the way until the Malchus. Oh, Hashem is here with me. You understand what I mean? It's not that Hashem is something like this remote being that created the world and left Chas v'shalom. No, Hashem is permeating all the 10 spheres. He's not limited by these 10 spheres. He's beyond them. And yet he's in them. That's the beauty of Hashem's creation. And so that's very important.
Yeah.
What is that?
Is there any relation or whatever with the Kav, the original Kav?
But that's beyond that, exactly. So the Kav, the original Kav, it's after the Tzimtzum. Kav v'chut come out after the Tzimtzum, right? After the contraction, after the Tzimtzum Arishon. Now, what the level that we're talking about, the 11th, it's from before the Tzimtzum. What the Rebbe is telling us is that although there was a Tzimtzum, the essence of God is in every detail after the Tzimtzum as well. That's the Chiddush of it. So this is 11th, not only being above, but being within. Okay, and here we go. And the Rebbe goes, Ubir ha'inyan v'prasius yoser, right? And this is the idea of explaining these ideas in more details. Yuvan al pi ma she'amar admar marashav nishmas adn b'ma'amar davar amaschil zen. Ita bazar she'tfila l'moy she'tfilas asher. Okay, that there is a Maamar, okay, with from the Rebbe Rashab, Okay, that explains this idea that Tfila l'Moshe with the same davar maschil. Okay, that this Tfila l'Moshe is Tfila of the Usher. Yeah, I see. There are some people asked something on the chat. Okay, is the place where Noam is referred to Bina. Well, Bina is connected to that. Somebody just okay. We have 11 people on this class. Oh, okay, yeah. Hashem. Okay. Now, so now the Rebbe's basically explained on this, these ideas, and now he's taking a little detour. Okay, he's like, you know what? Tfilas Moshe is tefillah of the Asher, tefillah of the wealthy man. Okay, v'zeu achiluk ben tefillah l'Moshe, tefillah l'David, v'tefillah l'Moshe. Right? There is a difference between the prayer of David HaMelech and the prayer of the Moshe. What's the difference? Tefillah l'David is tefillah ani. Okay, tefillah of the David is a tefillah of ani. Ani is a poor man. But tefillah l'Moshe, tefillah is Asher, and tefillah of the Moshe is a tefillah of the wealthy man. But medayik ba Maamar, and he is becoming very detailed here in the Maamar, very specific. What is the idea of prayer? A tefillah. The idea of a tefillah is that I lack something, I don't have something, and I'm asking Hashem to fulfill this need. Okay, that's the idea of a tefillah. Okay, now the Rebbe says very interesting. Like Kivan Shaha Asher Eina Chasur Shum Davar. Okay, please step up. Okay. Yeah, okay, can you please step up? Thank you. And close the door, please. Okay, the idea of the whole idea of tefillah is that I have a need and Hashem needs to fulfill me that need. That's what I'm asking you. It's a mitzvah. It's a mitzvah that when a person has a need, he has to ask Hashem for it. Okay, it's very beautiful. It's a mitzvah because it's a mitzvah of bitachon. It's a mitzvah of everything that a person should rely only on Hashem. And when we have our needs, we ask from Hashem, and that's why we have Shemona Esrei. We have 19 blessings that we ask Hashem for our needs. Okay, now
Hashem has mitzvot, right?
what is that?
Hashem has mitzvot.
Yeah, but we're talking about our mitzvahs right now. We have a mitzvah. We have a mitzvah
I mean,
to pray.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But Hashem has a mitzvah. Is it a mitzvah for Hashem to
give us? Look at this. This is a very interesting mimer. Yeah, just a little, just follow with us. Now, the Rebbe says, "Ma'u inyan tfilas Asher." Right? So what's Usher? Usher, it's a criteria. Just because you have $1 million in your bank account doesn't make you into Usher. Usher is a criteria. It's a very specific criteria, which means Usher lo chaser shum davar. He's not lacking anything. Very interesting. What I mean is not lacking anything. This is the gather of Usher. If you're lacking something, you're not Usher anymore, according to the Torah. Okay, now, Mahu inyan tfilas Asher. So then the Rebbe is analyzing. So if he's not lacking anything, what is he praying for? And if he's praying for something because he's lacking something, that means he's no longer Asher. You understand where the difficulty of the Rebbe? And we need more explanation. Okay, so now the Rebbe goes into this whole discussion. Okay, with the Rambam in the idea of tefillah, Hilchas tefillah, and he's also going into this whole idea of lack. There are two levels of lack. Okay, one is dai michsarai. Okay, right here, dai michsarai. It's enough for him to cover his basic needs. Meaning, there is a halachis about a person when the congregation needs to take care of them. Okay, how much money we need to give to a poor person. Okay, so there are two ideas. Okay, two halachis. One, we should fulfill his basic needs. There are basic needs that human beings need. And there's a formula for that, right? You need to have food, you need to have clothing, you need to have shelter. Right? These are the basic needs of a human being. And then there's another level, which is written, Asher Yichsar Loi, that whatever he lacks, okay, meaning if a person was used to live a little bit fancier life, okay, the congregation is obligated to fulfill his lack based on what he used to. It's very interesting halacha. Okay. Okay, what does this mean? Dai michsarai. Okay, dai michsarai, meaning it's enough to cover his basic needs. V'yata mitzabel ashira, right? That you are not obligated to make him rich. Meaning, if chas v'shalom, a person became very poor to the point that he needs to, be under the the community, we're not obligated to make him rich. We just need to give him his basic needs. What does this mean? Asher yichsar loi. But Asher yichsar loi is different. That whatever he is lacking is very different. I feel sus lircha alaf be'eved lorutz lafanav. That even if he was lacking a horse that he was riding on, and even an eved, like a servant that runs in front of him to announce that, Ploini Almoini is coming here. Even that is very, very important. Move on, and from this it is understood she'inyan ashiras, that the idea of ashiras, it's not only that he's not lacking anything. So the Rebbe is really going very deeply into what is ashiras means. Ashiras is not that he has a horse and he has, a servant to run in front of him. No. Elashahu mushpa b'ribu shefa. But he has so much abundance, okay, that he's not lacking literally anything. This is what Asher means. This is what a wealthy person means. So now we need to remember ribu shefa, right? He has abundance of flow. That's what ribu shefa literally means. Okay. And when we establish these three criteria, okay, there's two levels of lack and one level of ashiras. We're still left with a question: what was the situation with Moshe Rabbeinu? What was he davening for? If he was ashir, that intensifies our question. Okay, tzarich lahavin ad yaser ma'u inyan tfilas ashir. What does this mean, the tefillah of the ashir? Okay. Umavar bekama makom is gam Maamar hanal, the tfilas ashir hu lo bishvil atzmai. Oh, in few places the Rebbe says it means that the tefillah of the asher is not when he davens for himself, when he davens for somebody else. Okay, that's interesting. Kedita b'midrash alpi tfilas Moshe, as it's written in the medrash for the idea of the Moshe davening. Okay, mashal lama davar domeh, that medrash says that the davening of Moshe Rabbeinu, what does this looks like? Shloisha, Shabot, Tiyul, Koloi, Me'esa Melech. There are three people who came to spend time with Melech, with the king. Bashlishi, the third one comes over. Okay, Amar la Melech, Mata Mevakesh. The king asked him, what are you asking for? Amar la, Eidem Mevakesh al Atzmi Davar. He says to him, I'm not asking anything for myself. Ela Medina Plonis. But that particular Medina, that particular country, Yi Charva, Vihi Shalcha, she got destroyed, and it belongs to you. Meaning that belongs to this king, that particular country. Gzor Sheyidbane. Make a gzeira, decree that it will be rebuilt. Kach Moshe. The same way is Moshe. Lo bikish la'atzmai, he did not ask for himself, ela b'shvil Yisrael, he asked for Yidden. So that's why he could still, according to this opinion, he could still remain Asher because he's not asking for himself, he's asking for somebody else. So they are lacking, not he. He's not lacking anything. He's asking for somebody else, for Bnei Israel. But the Rebbe is not satisfied with it. Why? Truly, this explanation needs an additional explanation. Since tefillah is the work of the heart. Okay, it is understood that even when a person is davening for others, his davening is in a way that it's done in a way that the lack really touches his heart. If the lack of Bnei Israel touches his heart, shall Adam HaMispal, of the person who actually davens, it becomes like as if he is lacking. Okay? And moreover, the chisaron bothers him a lot. His tefillah becomes even greater. The more he feels the pain, the lack, the greater his tefillah is going to become. He's yearning, right? Because he's going to feel his pain. The more pain he feels, the more aroused he is to daven. So now, you see what the Rebbe says, like, even if he's davening for the others, he still goes into the lack state. So he's going into the lack state, he's automatically goes out of the realm of Ashiras, of being a wealthy man. Okay, why is it still called Tfilas Asher? You hear the question? So now, if I'm davening, if I'm Asher, and I'm davening for somebody else, the whole idea of davening is that I feel I'm empathizing with that person who is lacking. So if he's lacking, I feel the pain. I automatically no longer in a state of abundance and ashiras. Okay? So why does it say tefillah l'Moshe? It's tefillah's asher. That is a tefillah of a rich man. Okay? We're still left with that question. Is everything clear up until now? Yeah, good. Okay. ונקודת ביאור בזה הוא עניין השירוס הוא לא רק שיש לו די צרכה בהרחבה. So that actually now takes us on a journey. What a true wealthy man is. A true wealthy man, Rebbe says, the idea of Asher is not that he has all his needs in abundance. It's not. And even, let's say, beyond his needs. He is so rich, he has so much money that's beyond his reach. No. Elishu Asher be'etzem, the Rebbe says. Asher, he is rich in his essence, which means what? Va'inyan she'asher va'ani hu mashpia u'mekabel. That truly we could relate to the idea of Asher and Ani in the idea of mashpia and mekabel. One is a mashpia and the other one is mekabel. The mizeh muvan, from this we understand, shegam ksheyesh la shefa meruba, that even if he has a lot of shefa, aval shefa sheyesh lo lo mishel atzmai, but that flow that he has, it's not his flow, ela shekibel me'acherim, but he received it from others. Let's say somebody received, I don't know, $5 million as a gift. He's not a rich man. Why? Because he's not self-generating. He is receiving it from somebody. Who ani? According to the Torah, this guy is considered to be ani. Mekabel, he receiver. Binyan asherhu, and the idea of wealth is mitzad atzmai, from himself. Sheyesh lahakol, he has everything. V'yesh lekasher ze imam razal, and we need to connect it with what it says in the Razal, right? Ein ani ela badas, ve'ein ashir ela badas. And this is a rule that very, very important to remember. That there is no ani but in his das, and then there is no ashir but in his das, which is very interesting. What is das? Ki das u hakara v'argasha. Das is an awareness and feeling. Okay, very interestingly. So if we're gonna make a rule that ein ani ela badas, meaning I am only what determining factor here between me being ashir or me being ani is my state of das, my state of awareness and feeling. Okay, and if I'm in a state of lack, that's my awareness. Therefore, I'm in a state of lack. If I'm in a state of ashirus, this is my state. This is what I feel, and this is what I'm aware of. It's very interesting because the self-generating mechanism that he's talking about is an internal mechanism of das, which is what? Right? And this is a little bit from our Shari Yichud class, will be a little bit easier to relate to, right? And the advantages of the awareness and the feel, which is in the haskala, which is in conceptualizing and understanding, which is chokhmah and bina. Okay, when a person actually conceptualizes and understands something, it's not that he himself knows that thing. Okay? Okay, when a person conceptualizes something, right, that we call it in our modern language, living in the head. Living in a head is not living in our essence. Living in a head is that somebody gave me an idea and I connect to that idea, right? It's something outside of me. Okay? The idea of hakara and hargasha, which is das, it means it's already got personalized. It's not just an idea in my head. It becomes so permeated. I am the one who is aware of this. I'm the one who feels this. Okay? It's not something outside of me that I'm conceptualizing about, because this is what Chokhmah and Bina is. Chokhmah and Bina, it's something outside of me. But Das, it's me. Because remember, the Das is connecting to the essence of that thing, with my essence. Okay, it's knowing something in an essential way. Okay, v'zeu she'inyan ha'anius va'ashirus hu be'ikar b'das. And the Rebbe says here that the main point of anius, right, of lack, of being poor, va'ashirus and wealth, hu be'ikar b'das. It's mainly in das. Very interesting, right? The kivan she'yidia mitzad haskala v'havana ukmo yidia. Okay, niknis, aval hu ba'atzma eino yedeh. So the knowledge that a person gains through the chokhmah and bina, through conceptualizing and understanding, it's like as if it's like a purchased thing, but he himself doesn't know. You understand? It's like it's still outside of him. The das allows to such a level of personalization that it becomes part of him. Who nishar ani, that even after he has an understanding, right, and a particular concept, he remains ani, he remains poor in his essence. Okay, and therefore he's in a state of lack. But through das, but only through das, dafka, hu yotze me ani yusoi benase asher. Through das, he is stepping out of his need, and he becomes usher. because that becomes personalized. We're going to soon discuss what's personalized. For example, like there is a stages when we eat, right? When we take a bite of that apple and we chew and we chew and we chew, and then we swallow. Us and food becomes two separate things, okay? But then through the process of internalization of that food, okay, that food becomes part of us, right? It gets absorbed, all the nutrients gets absorbed into our body. You can no longer find apple in my blood, right? If you draw my blood after I ate apple, yeah, it becomes piece of my basar, a piece of my flesh. You're not going to find apple there anymore. It's internalized. It became part of me. But there is a stage when it's still separate, right? Let's say while it's being internalized, if I throw up or whatever it is, I'm sorry for bringing this example, right? They still could see pieces of apple. It didn't internalize yet. Okay? So the same thing is with an understanding. There are levels of understanding where me and what I understand are two separate things. But das is a very interesting faculty. It's called hiskashros. That's when we become one with that thing, with whatever else we're learning. And we all know that the toikev, the strength to overcome obstacles, and all these things are mainly badas. When a person makes a decision, because he is aware and he feels that this is what should be done. The hachlata, the decision, is going to become with a greater strength. That's going to be much stronger than when that decision is coming when we understand things. Understanding always allows us a greater understanding to knock it off. There's always something else. It's outside of us. It's outside of our domain. But das is not. When we feel something, the decision is much stronger. The execution of the decision is much stronger. And what's the reason behind it? Al-zehu. The hasaga hi derech shakal v'tayra. What is hasaga? The understanding. Understanding is that I have a thought process. Okay? I have a thought process how I come to conclusions. If so, right? Now, somebody else is coming over to me and says, hey, why are you drawing this type of conclusions? I'll show you a different way. If so, it's something different. Because it's happening in my head, okay, there is always a greater way of thinking. Okay, I'm not locked by this particular logic because there's always a greater logic. Okay, so when I am making a decision based on my logic that that's what should be, I know that there's a greater way of thinking, maybe subconsciously, and therefore my decision is not going to be so batoikev when I feel, right? My hasaga gives space for another hasaga to come in. Therefore, the hachlata, the decision that comes as a result of this hasaga, is not so strong. The hakara, but on awareness. Awareness is something really, really beautiful thing. The hargasha and a feeling, is in the essence of that understanding. Okay? The be'etzem asvara eina netinas makam lezvara chavchis. When I am viewing this from the essence of that understanding, okay, there is no place for another understanding to coexist. It's not just a conceptualization. It's the way of life. This is who I am. Okay, so that's when it's coming from the essence. There's no room for another essence to exist. And therefore the decision Mishtanis. So my decision that coming from the essence is not, it's not going to change. And through this we have to understand, we could say, that the Chachma and Bina, without das, it could happen, right? That when we are operating only through our Chachma and Bina, we are in a state of lack. We are in a state of poverty. Why? It's not only pertaining to the person. Because when I'm using my Chachma and Bina faculty, it's like an addition to the person. The person himself is lacking the knowledge, the awareness, and therefore he's called ani. So it's not only pertaining to the person himself that he remains ani, but also pertaining to the haskala, to the concept and the understanding itself. Why is it? Because the chachma, the hasaga, right, of the chachma and bina, there is a space for something else to coexist. And because he is usher in the essence, and they move on to ein shayach b'chisaron. So if a person is usher in his essence, he cannot be lacking anything. And therefore, the chisaron, right? We're going back to Moshe Rabbeinu, that he has towards the people that he is davening for, touches him a lot. Okay, but Tfila mispal avuram hu ki'ilu hu atzma yachaser. So therefore, when he is davening for them, it's as if he himself is in a state of lack. Okay, and therefore, their lack becomes his lack. Right? But at the same time, we see by fact that their lack doesn't become his lack. Why? Because it still remains in the tefillah of Asher. So how could this coexist? Okay, I know it's a little bit confusing. To summarize, what he's saying here is that the das is the faculty that determines whether we are in a state of ashirus or if we are in a state of anius, or lack. Okay, and that das is so then what is it? What is that?
Can I ask a question though? I'm sorry.
Sure.
Maybe I'm not understanding. It seems like if something is really, like you were describing, if you're in pain about something, it's still going to affect you. So that pain doesn't sound like it goes very much in the brain. So maybe it just bypasses the das, or is it just, it won't affect the das, because it's definitely in the heart. So, I mean, in terms of Chabad, it goes into the emotions, right? So I'm asking, is it just instinctive and therefore it's not part of the das at all, or it doesn't affect it? Like, why is it not involved, or whatever? I don't know.
Right. So what's exactly the question?
It's okay if you don't want to answer. My question is,
what's the question? Yeah.
My question is what how is das not affected, or how is it not impacted based on someone else's pain or whatever?
That's beautiful. He doesn't answer it yet. Yeah, he's asking us the question and he's intensifying the question, but he didn't answer that question yet. Yeah, he's going to answer it a little bit in the end. Yeah, he's still asking the question. He's still asking, how is that could be? Now we added the element of das here. And that actually intensifies his question. He says, now with das, now since also Moshe Rabbeinu is das Elyon, right? Is a state of das. So if he is concerned about somebody else, he's really there. So that intensifies the question. That means their chisaron becomes his chisaron. So then he cannot be usher. You understand? So the Rebbe asked this question, then he goes explain something else, and then asks the question again. Go explain something else and ask the question again. And it bothers him, this question, and this question is a very valid question. How can Moshe Rabbeinu remain Asher and still pray for the Yid? So it doesn't make sense, right? And he explained, he gave a few reasons. Reason number one is that it's Nogea Leliboy, right? Their lack concerns him a lot, and therefore that should that affects his state of being. So if they are in a state of chisari, lack, he is in a state of chisari. So therefore he's no longer Asher. But the Tehillim says Tfila l'Moshe, and the Medrash says Tfilas Asher. So how can he remain in the state of Asher and daven for the Yidden? And that's becoming like a rhetoric question throughout the whole Maamar, and I was keeps asking it. Okay, he brought us the awareness of two levels of chisaron, right? And now we are left with this, with this question again. Okay, so he's bringing the idea of das. So now he's just 1 second. Yeah, he's bringing the idea of das, into the picture. The Gimel is mainly he's introducing the das. What's the das? Das is awareness. Okay, and he says, "En ani elabadas ve'in asher elabadas." Right. So whether a person is ani and asher, it all depends on his state of das. What is he aware of? Okay, what circuitry the person already has. Is he in a state of makabel, or is he in a state of mashpia? Where he finds himself? And it's not an easy, it's not an easy answer. But if a person finds himself in a state of asheras, that means that it's not an additional thing to him, because das is when a person connects to that thing in its essence, in his essence or her essence. Okay, and he brings an example about Chachma and Bina. Chachma and Bina, it's the concept, basically it's our left and right brain, right? And Shariach discusses where, the Chachma dwells, where Bina dwells. Das is the back brain. So scientifically, they are, the back brain is where, the feeling and the being state goes in, right? The frontal lobes are mainly, the thinking brain. So when we are thinking about things, it's not, it's hypothetical, basically. We could think about things that are completely not related to our life. So that's our Chachma and Bina, that we are able to, think beyond, who we are. Now, the Das is something very different. The Das is connecting to the essence of that thing that we are thinking about. Okay, that becomes an exceptionally personalized experience. That's where our limbic brain, cerebellum. These are the experiences that we are talking about. It's called heightened awareness. So that's when we are actually traveling to that state. It's not an additional thing. It's not a theory. It's the literal experience. The das is the experience of what we are thinking about. So if the asher and the ani dependent on a das, so yeah, it's yeah, I don't want to spoil you the rest of the Maamar. So we're gonna let the Rebbe take you. Okay. Are we tired? Can we do one more?
Ask you, please.
Yeah. Okay.
For me, probably I'm missing something, but yes,
Yes.
the feeling of being poor or rich is totally subjective. But you're saying something much more, right?
Well, das is very subjective.
Yes.
Yeah, das is very subjective.
What
But
could
you
be
and
an
Zeb had him.
example of a person that is Asher Badas and Ani Badas? Like if there is more concrete example.
I think, just look at people who, poor people who win, I don't know, a few $1 million lottery. What happens to them in 1, 2, 3 years?
Yeah, many of them waste the whole thing and they don't stay rich.
Exactly. So that's you answer that. Why is it? Because
Value.
the money and them, that wealth and them are two separate things. It doesn't glue. You understand?
Uh-huh.
It's like it's davar nosaf. The Rabbi keeps saying it. It's like an additional thing for them. You understand? So it's wasted because they don't know what to do with it. They don't have circuitry. They don't have brain cells to know what to do with money, how to grow the wealth. What you understand what I mean? Like they're just two separate things. So they use it and they waste it, and and they go back to their own, state
Their
of
habits. They don't change I understand to understand. They don't change their seeing themselves rich. It doesn't
because
lay with
their das is not there. They don't have das to it. They don't know what it means to have abundance and accept it. They don't have keli for this.
I do have a comment. Don't we say like, hi guys, or don't we say like in Pirkei Avos, like who is the rich person? Like the rich person is the happy with whoever he has. Like, isn't that like something that we see in Pirkei Avos? This is the same idea. That is the perception of wealth that actually like determines like how wealthy the person is.
Yes.
Or the perception of abundance is what determines whether the person is.
Exactly. So that's what it is. Hakara v'hargasha. Hakara is an awareness, perception, awareness. And that's what determines the das. You're right. The das is a determining point. That's why in all these, abundance manifestation workshops, right, that's out there in the world, if any of you, have taken that, is it's the main is if a person actually feels that way. If a person is not feeling that way, there are blockages. So therefore he cannot attract things. So now the beauty of this Maamar is that it's not about the law of attraction. Why? Because what's the law of attraction? I'm in a state of chisare, right? Means I'm lacking something, and therefore I need to attract something outside of me. That's the law of attraction, right? I need to align myself with a certain reality, with a certain vibration, they call it, right? And that's how I'm going to attract things that are aligned with that vibration. Okay, now this Maamar is really knocks it completely down. Why? Because it says you have everything from within. You already have it. You're already there. You just need to become aware of what you have. So it's no longer to call it the law of attraction. It would be like a wrong saying because you're not attracting anything. I guess we can call it a law of revelation, not a law of attraction. Okay, anyway, I don't want to spoil it to you, but it's really beautiful to really go it through you as the Rebbe takes us on this. Okay, v'yuvan ze behegdim le'inyan ashiris bepashtusu, right? But truly, Rebbe says, let's proceed, right? The idea of ashiris in simple terms, which is what? Maamar. Okay, as it is explained in the third thing in the Maamar. Okay, Shaha'asher yesh la rag daitz tarchay elahu mashpia b'rabu shefa. Right, so now the usher is definitely not the one who has enough to cover for his needs, right? Because that is not an usher. But he has a ribu shefa. He has an abundance of flow. What is abundance of flow? Al pizah hachiluk bein ani, and the difference between a poor person, right, גם כשיש לדי מכסרי לעשיר הוא שני עניינים. Even though he has all his needs met, right? But then there are two things going on there. שגם באותם הדברים שישנם גם לעני, אינו דומה לעשיר. That although he has everything, okay, what Asher has in an external way, he's still not Asher. He's still not wealthy. Why? So Ani, right, he lacks them from inside. You understand? He has poverty mindset, we want to call it. He's in that state. So no matter how much money is going to be given to him, he can't sustain it because he's not self-generating it. He's not in a state of okay. Okay. But in reality, he has these things. He has $1 million in his bank account. Okay. Meaning, why isn't he an usher? Okay. The usher, the rich man, he has abundance of flow. Ribu shefa shelo yeshna klala ani. This abundance of flow. What is flow? It's a continuous coming. It's coming. You understand? The flow is a flowing. It's not just segmented, bank account that nothing is flowing into. Understand? Like there's no rejuvenation there. Okay? In a state of anius, there's no rejuvenation. And we have to say the baruchnius in the spiritual realm. There are two things that are dependent on one another. That in order for things that he needs, right? His needs are going to be covered, are going to be by him, not in a way that he receives them from others, but he should possess them on his own. It specifically has to be done in a way that are going to be ribu shefa. It's abundance of flow that are beyond his needs. Understand? That's why one of the main things that we see by really wealthy people is that they are very large. Okay, they're not going to be sitting counting the pennies, like they're not into it. I mean, they have the accountability, but one of the things is that they have that ribui shefa, right? They're not small, basically. The inyan ba'avodahu and the idea in the avodah, now, in the avodah of the person, right, that his avodah is only how he perceives things according to his intellect. Right? That automatically his avodah, when a person serves God based on his understanding, right, it's going to be automatically limited avodah. Why? Because his understanding is limited. If he's basing off his avodah based on his understanding is limited. Therefore, his avodah is going to be limited. Dai michsare, right? Like a chaser, but pnimius, he's internally lacking something. Gam avodah zo, also in this avodah. Why? Because according to hasaga, there's always the opposition. There's always something opposing the hasaga. Always. This is what intellect is. Intellect based on understanding and what opposing. This and that. So it's in a constant movement of trying to overcome the opposite hasaga, opposite understanding. And in order for a person's avodah to be in such a way that it will not leave absolutely no space for the opposition. It's specifically through avodah that above any limitation, which is ashiras. So you see, so the Rebbe is really preparing for us that if we want to generate something internally, we need to readjust our avodah with Hashem. Okay, in the spiritual realms, because ashiras, abundance in this world, is not coming from nowhere. It flows from spiritual worlds, right? So if my avodah is, I'm putting a limit to it because it's based off my understanding, automatically what flows out of it is going to be limited. I'm going to be in the state of ani. Okay. However, if I am in a state of above my understanding, right? Now, I'm automatically welcoming abundance, okay? Because my relationship with God is not based off my understanding. That's limited. Okay. But in order to understand the whole idea of ashiras, okay, which is above just mere compensation of one's needs. Okay, Magdim ba Maamar, right? He goes further in the Maamar. Dagam shemilo yachisaron yeshnei inyanim, right? In fulfilling of the lack, there are two things. Okay, remember there were two levels. Dai michsare, asher yichsar lai, right? Dai michsare is the basic needs. Asher yichsar lai, what he is like. But Amru Razal and our sages said, Asher yichsar lai, afilu sus lirchav alav eved loretz lefanav. Why? That's amazing. They're going to give him sus, they're going to give him a horse to ride on, and they're even going to give him an eved to run in front of him. That's not basic necessities. But still, a community is still obligated to give him because this is what he is used to. Hainu, shedai michsarai utzarich lesapek loy kol hadvarim anitzrachim lekol echad. Dai michsarai means that a person needs to give, okay, what usually people need to sustain their life. And after that, we know about Asher Yichsar Loi, what is lacking for him. That we need to give him what he is lacking. What could be he's lacking? A car, a horse, an eved, right? A servant. Sus lirchov alav eved loros lefanav. Why is it? Because he's used to it. Okay? Person is used to it. He's already established his domain, his comfort zone. And we need to give him based on his comfort zone. Now, that's still not ashiras. That might seem to be ashiras. That might seem to be abundance, but it's not. Ashiras hu ribu shefa. Ashiras, the Rebbe says, is ribu shefa. That are even above the second level. Asher yichsar loy. What if he had a luxury cars, luxury house, blah, blah, blah? It doesn't matter. He's still not asher. Why? Why is not? Because it's not self-generating them. It's something that's given to him. It's not his. There are three things. The two levels of lack that we just discussed, and the third one is ashiras, right? We also see them in the spiritual world. Okay, so this is where it becomes yummy. How is it known that all the things that are below mishtal shalim me'inyanam lamala? They're all coming down from above, meaning everything what we see, all the relationship that we see in this world, they're all coming from above. And the idea is that in the way how Hashem reveals himself, that are above yesh gimel madregas beklalos. There are generally 3 madrigas. Okay, this is Memale Kol Almin. This is the light of Hashem that permeates into the world. Okay, Sovev Kol Almin. This is the light of Hashem that surrounds the world. And Atzmos Oren Sof. And the Atzmos, the essence of Oren Sof, Shalamala, Mememala Vasovev, which is above the Memala and Sovev. Okay? So now we're going to go deeper into Hasidic terminology in order to understand the relationship, how from within us we have these levels. Okay, why do we have these levels? Is because that's how we operate. Why we operate this way? Because we are a small world. This is how the world operates. So that's why we see these levels from within. Okay. Now, what are the 3 levels that we so far established? What was the first level? Who remembers? You could put in the chat. Okay, Dai Michsari, very good. So now Dai Michsari, Michsara, and that corresponds to the Memale Kol Almin. Okay? Dai Michsara. Asher Yichsar Loi, right? It's Sovev Kol Almin. Okay, then Asher is Atzmos. So these are the 3 levels that each one corresponds to the other. So to my understanding of this Maamar, that we'll live in 3 realities simultaneously. And where our focus is at, this is what the results we're going to be getting. Okay? Meaning, there's 3 levels of Sovev Kol Almin, Memale Kol Almin, Memale Kol Almin, Sovev Kol Almin, and Atzmos are happening within us. This is how we live. Okay, the only could be like that is because, that's how Hashem created the worlds. Okay? So where is our awareness? We're going to go back to the Das. You understand? Where our awareness in godliness is going to be, this is the level that we're going to be living in. If we're on an awareness level of Sovev Kol Almin, we're going to be in Dai Michsari. We're going to get results of Dai Michsari. If we're going to be in the level of awareness of Asher Yichsar Loi, of Sovev Kol Almin, we're going to get Asher Yichsar Loi. And if we are on the level of Atzmos, on the level of essence, we're going to get Asheris. Okay, so now let's dive into what are these levels? What are they about? How they happen? Okay, Sovev Kol Almin, Atzmos, or Sovev Shalom Almin. Okay, Memale Kol Almin. Okay, let's introduce Memale Kol Almin. Let's take a tour. Hu Ha'or. This is the light. Hamitlabesh ba'olamais. This is the light of Hashem that literally encloses itself in the world, and in the creation. What's the purpose of this world? To give them life. Lefi arkam, in accordance to who they are. Okay, let's look in our body. I have hair. I have skin. I have my inner organs, right? The life force that are coming from my neshama are not going to be equally distributed. It's going to go in accordance to my organs, right? My skin is going to reproduce skin, and my nails are going to reproduce nails, and my saliva is going to reproduce saliva, right? My hair is going to reproduce hair. Everything is going to go in accordance with its needs, right? Is it similar to Asher Dai Michsari? Isn't that very similar to Dai Michsari? Yeah. Lefi arkam. Maamar Azal, maha nefesh memale saguf, like the soul fills the body. HaKadosh Baruch Hu memale so'ilam. The same way is Hashem is filling the world. The Gemara shechayis hanefesh hamitlabesh behaguf lefi ofet ivri haguf. Right? So the same way how the life force of the soul encloses itself in the soul in accordance to the limbs. B'chol ever chayasu lefi arkon. Right? We all know that in every limb, the chayus is in accordance to that limb. Obviously, my hand doesn't have the same vitality as my brain, as my heart. Why? Because it doesn't need. Because I already have brains and I already have a heart. So the chayus, right, the life force that will be given to my hands is going to be different than the life force that's going to be given to my nails. My nails I'm going to cut, it's not going to hurt. My hand, if I cut, is going to hurt. You understand? So it's all given in accordance to the needs of the body, to the needs of every single organ. Right? Now, that's how the Mamalikal Almin operates. Shahu b'chinas kol olam v'kol nivra lefi arkoi. That this is in accordance to all the worlds and all the creation in accordance to who they are. Okay? Is that good? Everybody got it? Oh no. Yeah, I definitely don't want to overwhelm you guys. So if it's really not, it's hard to understand, please stop me, ask questions. Now, Sof Kol Almin, which is the light that surrounds the world. What does this mean? It's above the enclosement of the world, meaning it doesn't fully go in. But what it does, it's equally present there. Right? Is equally surround the world. But it has to do with the world. As you can see, the Rebbe underlines the word almin here. Okay, it says the one that surrounds the worlds, all the worlds, meaning it has shaychus, it has a relationship to the world, although it's not fully being revealed and permeated in the world, but it still has shaychus to it. Right, and this is through the life force of the soul on its own. Okay, so now it's not how the soul gives life to the body. It's the life force of the soul itself. Okay, make sense? So the Rebbe is becoming exceptionally technical here. Chai could be written in chai with patach or with tzeri. The chei olamim, okay, tivat chei devuka lo'olamim, right? Chei olamim is the life force of the world. Hainu hatzayus shel ha'olamos mamale. This is the mamale. Ubechai olamim, right? With the patach is okay, Tevas Chai Eino Dvuka Lo'ilamim, right? The Chai is not connected to the Oilamim. Aino Bechinas Chai Be'etzem Sovev. Right? This is Chai Be'etzem, which is Sovev. Right? The soul is enlivened on its own. Okay, it's not contingent on the same way how the body is contingent on the alignment of the soul. Would
you say? Sorry, you say Chai Be'etzem is the idea that the person is alive?
Yeah. Chai Be'etzem. The fact that he is alive. Now, the Sovev Kol Almin becomes like the source through which the worlds are being enlivened. Okay, Soivev, Maamar, Soivev Nikra Shagam B'Shem Chaya Chaim. Right? It's the life force of all life. Okay, Chayim Hu B'Chinas HaMitpashet HaMitlabash B'Olamos, right? The Chayim, the life force, which is enclosed and spread out in the world, which is Mamalik. Now, from where Mamale has the power to enliven the world? From where? It has its own power? No, it takes from Soibev. Okay? Okay. החיים הוא בחינס המתפשט המתלבש באילומס ממילא. Okay. ובחינס סויבב שממנו נמשך חייס דאילומס, הוא נקרא חיי החיים. Okay. וזהו מאמר ז"ל, חי ייתן לך חיים, דמחי החיים, בחינס חיי החיים הוא מקור, ומשם נמשך החיים. Okay, so basically, the soivev is the source from where the life force to enliven the worlds gets it. You understand? So it's very connected. It's not separate. I know a lot of times when we learn Chassidus, sometimes we might think like, oh, the soivev and mamale are separate things. They're not separate. It's like the general life force, and the mamale is a specific life force. Okay, so it's like general and specific.
Mila will explain later how is it parallel to the Turko and Kol Machzera Sheyachsalo.
Yes,
because I don't see it yet. I don't see it yet. Yeah. Okay. I don't see the parallel yet clearly.
No, for now we just want to understand
Okay,
in
yeah.
general. Yeah, for now we just want to understand the general, the difference. Oh, I don't know why. Yeah, for now we're just understanding the general memale and soivev. Okay, it might be a little bit difficult for us to understand because we're not used to this type of thinking. But if you just imagine there is a general life force that's given to the soul to enliven the body, and then it's divided into specifics. Okay, the head is going to get this much, the nails are going to get this much, the feet is going to get this much, and so on and so forth. Okay, so this is the relationship between Sovev, is a general life force, and Memala is specifics. Okay, when you fill in. Now, okay, V'zeu Maamar Zal al pi Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbos. Okay, we say Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbos. It's going to go a little small detour. Mizmor Shir L'Asid Lavai, the Yom Shekula Shabbos Umnucha L'Chai Olamim, right? We say that this is Mizmor Shir L'Shabbos, which is in the future to come, that it's going to be a full day of Shabbos, and it's going to be Menucha, L'Chayei Olamim, right? For the worlds to come. Chai HaOlamim B'Patach. We see over here, Chai HaOlamim is a life force for the world with a Patach. It's like in general, Chai and Chai in Digduk makes a big difference in a connotations of the understanding of it, but we don't need to go into it. This is the idea of Soivev. Okay, Shvito Menucha, right? In the future to come, we're going to have a whole sense of Menucha, right? Menucha is tranquility. Okay, why are we going to have this idea of tranquility? Because in the future, meaning in the Geula, we're going to have the revelation of Atzmos, the revelations of the essence, which is Or Ein Sof, above anything has to do with the world. L'mala gam misovev, which is going to be even higher than Sovev. Right? So if we are to get an understanding, we have Memale, then there's a layer of Sovev, then there's a layer of Atzmos. Right? So if we look into this relationship of these three levels, we see that the level of Atzmos is what Geula is related to. Okay. Okay, then he goes into this, v'chayenu miyamayim miyom hashlishi yekimenu, right? V'nichya lefanav. V'ita b'lukatei Torah, the yamayim hem shnei giluyim demamala v'sovev. Right, there's 2 days, it says, right? And where does it say? 56. In Yeshayahu, right? There's a prophecy in Yeshayahu that says in 2 days, right? From the 2 days to the 3rd day, Yekimenu, right? You will sustain us. And we're going to be living in front of you. What does this mean? It says, Yomayim, there's 2 days. These are the 2 days of Sovev and Mamala Kolal. And the 3rd day is the Giloy Atzmos, is the revelation of the Atzmos, right? Which is higher than has anything to do with the world. From the 3rd day, you're going to sustain us. Lefanav, meaning in front of you, which is what? Which is the Pnimius, right? This is the Pnimius, and this is the Atzmos of Or Ein Sof. What does this mean? Lahayir, that Pirush HaPashut, from these 2 days and the 3rd day, them Gimel Zmanim, these are the 3 times that we are experiencing. Yamayim Heim Oilamazeh, Began Eden, okay, Yamayim is this world and Gan Eden, or Oilam Hazeh V'Yemaisa Mashiach, or this world and the days of Mashiach, which we are now. Okay, V'Yom HaShlishi Hu Tchias HaMeisim, and the 3rd day is Tchias HaMeisim. Okay, V'Kesher, the Shnei HaPirushim, the B'Shnei HaZmanim, the Yamayim Hem HaGiluyim, the Mamala V'Sovev, that these 2 days we have the revelations of Mamala and Sovev. This is something that we experience on a daily basis, by the way. Okay, Tchias HaMeisim is going to be the Giluy of the Atzmos. That's why the Meisim are going to be resurrected. Why there's going to be a resurrection of the dead? Because the essence is going to be revealed. And in essence, there's no such a thing as death. Okay, so that's why when the revelation of the essence is going to take place, all the dead is going to, get up, because truly, in essence, nothing could die. Okay? Why we're not experiencing Tchias HaMeisim? Simply because we are not yet on that level of the revelation of God. So we are still dealing with Sovev and Mamale. We're interchanging the Sovev and the Mamale. Okay? And, the breakthrough of Geula is when we're able to live from our essence. Okay? Gimel Inyanim Hanal, right? These are the 3 things. Ne'inyan de Mila Chisarin, right? There's 2 states of lack. Daim Yichsarai v'asher Yichsarlai, right? Enough to sustain yourself and whatever is needed for him. Asheris and Asheris. Begiluyim Shalamalahem Gimel Madregas Kanal. These are the 3 levels. Kishnei Ha'inyanim de Mila Chisarin. Okay, the 2 ideas of the compensation of the lack. These are the 2 levels of the Mamala and Sovev. We know that Sovev has something to do with the worlds. Why?
Tfila, sorry to interrupt you. You translated the first one as enough to sustain yourself. How did you translate the second level of lack?
That he lacks, meaning it's a subjective lack. You see, the first one is an objective lack. Everybody needs food, everybody needs clothing, everybody needs shelter.
Okay.
What he is lacking, what he's used to lacking, we all differently. Somebody was lacking, a bowl of rice every day, and somebody was lacking meat and, all the delicacies and so on and so forth. It's very subjective, right? Whatever a person is used to. Okay. So now he's corresponding it to the 3 levels of the revelations of Hashem. One is Mamale, one is Sovev, and one is Atzmos. Okay, ולכן כאשר זה אינו מגלה בעולם. אוקיי. שני עניינים דמילה החיסורם, שני הגילויים דממלא בסובב. וכיוון שגם אור הסובב, and since the light of סובב שייך לעולמות, has to do with the world, the סובב also has to do something with the world, לכן כאשר זה אינו מגלה בעולם, so therefore when the סובב is not revealed in the world, העולם הוא חסר, the עולם is in the state, the world is in the state of lack. Meaning, the Rebbe is saying truly, ultimately, something phenomenal here. The fact that a person is experiencing lack in his life is because in godliness, there is lack. In the revelation of godliness is lack. Meaning we're operating and exchanging in a way in our perception and in the levels of godliness that are lacking. Okay, Mamala is lacking, even Sovev is lacking. So now what happens when Sovev is being lacked? The world is lacking. Kamar Azal. Okay, Allah Pasuk. Yachal Elokim b'yom hashvi. Okay. Ma haya ha'olam chaser menucha. So now the question is, what the world is really lacking when he is lacking Sovev? He's lacking tranquility. Ba Shabbos, ba menucha. The Shabbos comes in, the Menucha comes in. Menucha hu b'chinat soivev, shalamala miha oir hamitlabash ba'olam. Right, the Menucha is the level of soivev that that are being enclosed in the world. Afal pikein shelo hayagilu iza ba'olam, and since the revelation of Menucha wasn't in the world yet, ha'olam chaser, the world is in a state of lack. Shabbos, and when Shabbos comes in, Nimshach v'nigle oir zeh, this light is being revealed, and this lack is being fulfilled, meaning it's being filled. That we see from here that even in the level of soivev, which is an exceptionally lofty level, okay, is, has the sense of lack. Okay, but the revelation of the chisaron, the revelation of lack through Giloi, through the revelation of the Mamale, is because it's the first level of lack, right? The general, to keep person just alive. But to filling the chisaron through the Giloi of the Soivev is al derech asher yichsor loy. Okay. That's what he is lacking. I feel sus lirchav, like the person is lacking, a horse and evet and so on and so forth. Why? But Ashirus is Gilui Atzmos, and Ashirus is the revelation of the Atzmos. Shalamala Mishachas Loyalamis. Okay. So let's see what we have now here. I think I was trying to put something in a chat, but I think it went to the direct message to somebody. For some reason, is not changing to do it for everyone. Okay, what did we get up until now? Do you see you don't see my notes. What did we get up until now? You had an element of confusion already to create an inner battle.
I think I was mute when I said that that to me, I understand that the lack, my feelings of lacking, of untranquility, comes from the lack of revelation in my life of godliness, of commitment.
Right. The Rebbe is talking about these 3 levels, right? Of Maamar Kol Almin, the world that permeate. Yeah, Maamar is permeating the world. And then there's a Sovev, right? The one that surrounds the world. And 2 of them are in a state of lack, ultimately. And when we operate in godliness with Hashem, right, through these 2 levels, we are in a state of lack. Okay, so the ultimate level through which we could rise above it is the level of Atmos, is the level of essence of God, but above. And this is the level of Ashiris. That's where the Ribu Shefa is. Because anything that we possess through the levels of Maamar and Sovev are ultimately going to be limited. Limited to our perception because of Das. We're going to have very limited Das in this. And we're not going to have Ribu Shefa because this is,
Because we are receiving only.
Exactly. We are receiving, we're not mashpin, we're not self-generating. So where is that state where we could truly generate, where we could truly be, we're going to call ourselves, is the level of Ashiris. There's no other level. It's going to be the level of essence.
Can I ask you a question?
Mhm.
How do we know how do we know we're not in those levels, and how do we know we're going into the godly levels? How do we know we're not fooling ourselves? How do we know what's reality?
That's a great, because we're going to see it in our results. Right?
Okay.
Meaning, first of all, we need to know what is it? What is it that we are, trying to accomplish, right? And what are we accomplishing? Now, what the Rebbe is going to do in the Maamar, B'ezrat Hashem, next time we're gonna go into it. That the Rebbe is gonna shift the Maamar to the person's perception, right? So it is very subjective because that's our personal perception. But then you look at your results, it's like a person is doing a certain avodah, a certain service, and where is God in that service? Do you know what I mean? Like where, like what comes into me is really the state of Ashiris is triggered by bitachon that we have. Right, but what is bitachon? Bitachon is when a person is able to operate and has this relationship with Hashem, which is far beyond the relationship that he has with everybody else. Meaning, the bitachon is that a person leans only on Hashem in his perception. Right? It's no longer my boss who gives me the job, is no longer, this or that, meaning we're not contributing power to anybody but to Hashem. So, for example, with everything else, what's happening in Eretz Yisrael, there's a very interesting sikha with the Rebbe, where the Rebbe says, when there was a successful operation in Beirut, back in the days, where the Rebbe says that people should not contribute this to the success of the work. How could it be? There's a top intelligence involved. There's this, and so on and so forth, right? There's, and yet And we contributed to Hashem's revelation in this. So it's a very tricky that when we do everything, what we can, and at the same time, we keep in mind that absolutely nobody has any power. The true power is coming from Hashem. So that goes back to our awareness of Hashem, how much Hashem is in our life. If in our life Hashem is only on Memala level, so we're going to get the Memala results. If Hashem is on the Sovev level, we're going to get the Sovev results. Yeah, meaning if our awareness, later on the Rebbe is going to talk about, is on the level of our intellectual soul, which is the intellectual faculties of our animal soul, so then we're going to get certain results. If we are living from the awareness of our godly soul, we're going to get certain results. Okay, but if we are living through our essence, and this is the phenomenal Maamar for me specifically, because a lot of times we don't see our godly soul as having limits, don't we, right? We're not aware of this. We usually look at our godly soul as being unlimited and part of God. But in this Maamar, Rebbe specifically differentiates between the essence of the soul and the godly soul. So he's going to continue layering this. Right now we only got, Asher Yichser Loi. No, I'm sorry, Dai Michsare, Asher Yichser Loi Nashiris. And the Rebbe told us Memalis, Sovev, and Atzmus, right? And the Rebbe is going to continue filling these three levels with different things, and we could see same patterns happening. I don't know if I'm answering your question, Pauline, but it's definitely, really depends on our awareness of God, how much God fills our awareness. And based on that, we're going to be, kind of.
So it's a process. That's what you're saying.
Yes and no. It's interesting. Like, it's a process, and then yet it's not a process. Because when we live through our essence, there is no idea of a process exists there. Because it's just a revelation of what it is there. It's an awareness. Yeah, because we are driven. We wanna. How should I say? The whole Tanya, right, is derech arucha and ktsara, right? It's a long, short way. The whole introduction to Tanya. So we are used to, as Hasidim, to understand that it's a journey. And you know what? The Alter Rebbe says, it may be that you'll never reach this journey. Meaning you'll never reach the destination. It's a journey that you continue working on yourself, and that's just what it is. So now, in Tafshin and Aleph, Tafshin and Beis, we saw a huge change in how the Rebbe is presenting the Sichos and Maamarim, where the Rebbe is inclined to believe that we already reached the destination. It's the awareness that we are lacking of us actually reaching the destination. So, by the world is being ready, in spiritual sense, everything is ready. Nothing is blocking, and we're already there. And the Rebbe says, Geula Amitis Vashlema is right here, is unfolding. And how much of it, we're becoming aware. Are we still living our Golus process of a journey? Like we kind of insist on having the journey because we used to journey. And when somebody says, hey guys, open your eyes, we already arrived. We're like, did we? We're not sure how, and so on and so forth.
Thank you.
Okay. How do we know? Okay, so you're right. How do we know? We don't know, but we sense. That's what, something that, I think the Rebbe wants us to develop sense of sense. And this is what Das is Hakara and Argasha. It's sensing and really being attuned with, what's happening. Okay, what would it look like if one living in Sovev of Atzmos? Sovev of Atzmos, well, it will look like that a person really has everything what he needs in his life. He is Usher. He's in the state of Usher. He has Ribu Shefa, and he is self-generating it from within him without accepting it from somebody else. Okay, question before Rosh Hashanah. So what exactly should we be praying for? Right, that's a good question, Tara. To open our eyes, I guess that's what it is. Because truly, the end of the Maamar is I don't know if we'll be able to finish the Maamar before Rosh Hashanah, but the Maamar really goes into this understanding how, on the level of essence, we truly have everything. We literally have everything, and every single Jew has that level. It's not something that we lack something. We truly don't lack anything. Everything what we need, we already have. It's, do we have hakara and hargasha in it or not? Based on the das, hakara and hargasha, and awareness and feeling. Based on the das, this that's how it's going to be being revealed, basically. The revelation of what we already have is going to be contingent on our awareness of it. Now, what type of actions can we get to it? So I think, we're definitely in a better space with the mental health, right? I'm not lacking anything. We're not lacking anything. Just really saying it to yourself, and really like dwelling. It's not like, we are lacking anything. We already have everything what we need. And when we are approaching the situations from this state of being, okay, let's say I have a meeting with somebody and I want to close on a deal. Okay. If I'm coming from the state, I need them, right? That means I'm putting myself in a state of chisaron and I need them in order to feel my chisaron. Okay. But I'm meeting them to connect. You see what I'm talking about? Like, it's in a way like they're going to be the vehicle to reveal to me what I already have. That's a different story. I'm not in a state of need. Whatever needs to come will come. Yeah. So it's like, you are in a totally different state emotionally. You're not dependent on anything. You're not dependent on anybody. You are only dependent on God, and this is your awareness, and this is your relationship with God becomes like, okay, is this something, what I should be engaging in? Like, is going to be the keli through which the bracha is going to be revealed? This is the key word here. If this is going to be the vehicle through which the keli is going to be revealed. Okay, so it's no longer, I have, I don't have, I need, like it's, and if a person find themselves in a state of need, so the prayer is going to be, reveal this in me. Reveal how I don't lack anymore. That's the essence, right? The essence is meaning reveal this within me that I don't lack this. You see, it's a very different way of approaching than we used to approach, from the Tanya perspective. But from Tanya perspective, not everybody has what they need. Sometimes you meant to be a Beinani. This is just what it is. And it's not that it's right or wrong. It's just there's a different set of prescriptions for different times in history. And we kind of get used to living outside it, meaning the outside world is what's telling me what's happening with me, and not the other way around. The other way around, inside out, is that I first create that reality within me, and that's going to be revealed on the outside. That's what das means. Das means is that I first become aware of whatever else I'm lacking, that I'm not lacking it. Okay, so there's a letter that I shared in a group. I'll share it here as well. The Rebbe talks to somebody who is sick. Okay, and the Rebbe tells him, well, obviously, when a person is sick, he's lacking health. right? It's just, so he is in a state of anius. So Rebbe tells him that you should envision yourself what would be the level of your simcha when you're going to be healthy. And that simcha that you're going to be experiencing before you got healthy is what's going to bring you health. How does that work? It's we're not used to thinking this way, because usually when a person is sick, you take medicine, you feel good, right? Your body strengthens itself, and then you feel simcha. Oh, amazing! I feel, gratitude of feeling healthy again, right? But the Rebbe says it's the opposite. You're not healthy yet. Your simcha of you living in your future, meaning you're inviting your future before it actually occurred, as if it already occurred. That's what will bring you your salvation. It's a very interesting way of looking at things, right? Meaning, because truly a Jew is above time. There is no time. Time is a very subjective thing, right? Time is a creation of God. Okay, so therefore, the body lives in now. The body doesn't understand the past, present, or future. It's like ke'echad. It's like one. Why is the body is like that? Because truly, the body is the most connected to the essence of God entity. Because it says in the times of Mashiach, the body is going to nourish the neshama. Now the neshama nourishes the body. In the times of Mashiach, it's going to be different. It's going to be the opposite. So we see that from the perspective of the essence, there is nothing exists. No time exists. So therefore, the teshuvah, we're talking about Aseres Yimei Teshuvah coming in, right? That's teshuvah is actually able to fix the past. How can teshuvah fix the past? If a person messed up, he messed up. Okay, from now on, he's not going to do it. But how can a teshuvah fix the past? Is because truly a Jew lives above time. This is the level that we possess within ourselves. And when we tap into that level, we're able to fix our past as if it never happened. Yeah, a true teshuvah is able to bring a Jew to that level. So on the level of the essence, we truly don't have any lack. And when we tap into it, then we have no lack. Right? So that it's no longer a law of attraction. We're not attracting anything. Yeah, it's more revealing what we already have. That it's going to be begoli. Can we be in Soivev and Memale at the same time, or that's already Atzmos? Well, that's what the Rebbe is talking about. Remember when he said that the level of 11 above the 10, and then there's an aspect of 11 that permeates all the 10 until it reaches the Malchus. Okay? So the Atzmos has absolutely no limitation. Atzmos could be in Soivev, Atzmos could reveal itself in Memale, Atzmos could reveal himself in Klipes. Atzmos has absolutely no restrictions. Okay, and therefore, we see situations of people getting saved from miraculously. That's what miracle is coming from, because it's coming from Atzmos. It's coming from a place where it's absolutely not restricted by anything, any other domain, even in godliness. And that's the level of our yechida, right? That's the level of our yechida. That's Yochid was a Kadosh Baruch Hu. That's one with Hashem, and at that level, nothing truly exists besides you and Hashem. And that's the level where all the healings are coming from, because there's nothing else exists. Everything comes from there. And when we are able to connect to this level, this is where, Rosh Hashanah and, Yom Kippur, these are the levels that we able to access much easier. So I felt compelled to learn this Maamar again.
Love mommy, love mommy.
Yeah. And so where should we make where should we make, hello, gorgeous. When should we make this the following question, the following class? Because as we went, we're pretty much ready. Maybe we'll take like another class or two.
Mila,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to thank you so much. This was truly, I don't know, just this itself was the blessing and the yeshiras. I really just wanted to add something.
Sure.
Hi, first of all, thank you so much. It's just like changing my state of being. And I guess this is like the results you're talking about. So I feel like the results of this is the truth is that in my body, I'm feeling much calmer and much more joyful. So thank you, first of all. And I just, as you were speaking, I was thinking, I once heard that it says in Yid Nefesh, like, I'm trying to remember which stanza it is, but like the two words that I'm remembering is us tischazek v'sisrape. Then you will be strengthened and be healed. And there's a question to the way we see healing is that usually what happens, the person's sick, they get healed, and then slowly their strength comes back. But here, like, why is it putting first to be strengthened, then to be healed? Shouldn't the healing come first? So what is said is really the essence of healing is spiritual healing. And in spiritual healing, it's only because there was a weakness, there was a lack of das, the way I'm saying now, there was like that disconnect. That's what caused the sickness. So first, actually, once you're strengthened, then the healing comes. What was lacking was that connection, that strength of, I guess, that connection to Hashem, that Yechidus. So once you get that back, you're already healed. There's no sickness anymore.
Right. Well, there is, the sickness could exist only in a particular environment, right? We carry an environment within ourselves, and this is what our awareness is, right? So things that are aligned with that awareness, that's what we reveal. So I love to bring that example. It's really beautiful how in nature Hashem kind of plants different answers. There is we all know about the eagle, right?
Yeah.
The eagle, okay, eagle is the most powerful bird, blah blah blah, everything else. Now, you know how crow could annoy an eagle? It actually goes to the back of the eagle and has a free ride. An eagle can't do anything. Can you imagine? In the back of the eagle, there's a crow. An eagle cannot do anything. Why? Because he can't. What else can he do? What tools eagle has to get rid of the crow? What do you think it does?
It's to fly higher, to fly
exactly.
so high.
Exactly. It flies so high.
Can't breathe.
Exactly. That's what it does. It flies so high. Well, because eagles, they have a special, structure of the nose, and it's a whole thing, to fly in high amplitude. Now, crows don't have it, right? Because crows are crows. So what the eagle does, instead of fighting with it, it just goes into higher reality, into higher planes, and the crow automatically falls out. So meaning it's just the law of nature. Right. So we might have our own little shticks, our own little obstacles in our life, that we have two ways of dealing with it. Directly dealing with it, eliminating the obstacles, whatever that may be, and then indirectly dealing with it. Indirectly dealing with it, if we are raising our vibrations, if we are raising our awareness of God on a higher plane, it doesn't exist in these planes. these things. You understand? The crows don't exist. You know, they can handle a certain amplitude. That's it. If you want to get rid of a crow, fly higher. Okay. Now, there is a thing that people think that if they're gonna fly higher, they're gonna detach themselves from reality. There is a fear like that in the world. Yeah, and I hear it a lot. Yes, if you're gonna fly so high, you're gonna detach yourself from reality. But it's actually not a true fear. Why? Because in godliness, the higher the thing is coming from, the lower it's able to come down. Okay, it's a rule. So if we're truly enhancing our awareness of God, we're not just going, you know, just to feel high or whatever it is, but we truly, you know, essentially want to deepen our awareness of God. It will affect how we cook in our kitchen. You know what I mean? Like there is nothing is remote from the essence of God. So we should not be afraid that, you know, if we're going to really work on our bitachon in Hashem or in our awareness of God, or really strengthening our emunah, bitachon, and all these higher planes realities, is going to somehow cause some kind of damage to us. And we're going to be like, you know, meshuganas, you know, who knows where, and completely disattached from the world. It's not true. It doesn't happen like that. On the contrary, the more we are connected with the essence of God, and revealing our own essence, the lower we're able to bring it down. We're going to be kinder people. We're going to, you know, we're going to be better mothers. You know, we're going to be better wives. We're going to be better people, because that's how it works. Hashem is good. Okay, it's impossible that us connecting to Hashem is going to bring something negative in our lives. Just, you know, so that's yeah. And in general, it will require, this work will require us to let go of our old paradigms in a way, because this is a paradigm shift, because Mamale has its paradigm. Okay, Sovev has its paradigm, and Atzmos has its paradigm. A lot of time people are asking, how is that possible? You know, that by me shifting my consciousness, I'm going to become rich. I don't know. It's a paradigm. Because when you live in Mamala paradigm, under no circumstances you could grasp the paradigm of Atzmos. It doesn't make sense to you, because it's not supposed to make sense. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, does that make sense? So it's paradigm is that there's a set of rules by which we live that makes sense. That's what the paradigm is. When we are talking about another paradigm, it doesn't make sense to us because we don't live there. When we're going to live there, when we're going to disassociate ourselves with our old paradigm and shift to our new paradigm, then it starts making sense. You know, for example, many people believe that rich people are smart people. It's actually a wrong paradigm. It's not true. Rich people, they're not smarter than poor people. Or they're more intellectual, or so on and so forth. Not necessarily. For example, there was a paradigm that in order to be, you know, well off in life, you need to go to university. No. You know, all the 3% of rich people that possess 90% of money in the world, they're not college graduates. Okay. So these are the paradigms. It doesn't make sense to us because we are believed, we used to believe that this happens when these conditions are met. That's what paradigm is. But when we're talking about embodying a different set of rules, it's going to be very difficult for us. Why? Because we need to let go of our beliefs. And we need to embody new beliefs that are a little bit higher than what we thought it would be. So therefore, it's going to be like a little you know, giving up a little bit of our comfort zone and stepping into the unknown, because and that might be a little bit uncomfortable. But Bezrat Hashem, I bless, you know, everyone should be Shana Tov Masuka. I hope that we will be able to have this another class maybe on one night. I don't know how many of us okay, Nechama, yeah, that's your mother should have an ultimate aliyah, you know, with this third level of Atzmos being revealed as the Rebbe connected in the Maamar with Chias Amazim, and we should really see this this ultimate revelation. Thank you, Nechama. Good. So, is everybody is on our coast, or somebody is? I think Pauline is from.
I'm from Cape Town, South Africa, and the time is now 6:20 in the evening.
Right, 6:20. So we probably would need to do what's next Sunday? Anybody knows? Is it after Rosh Hashanah? It's a regular Sunday, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll just keep it for Sundays, and I think that this way, you know, everybody will be joining. But please, you know, review the Maamar.
Sunday is Tzom Gedalia, I believe.
Yes.
About Tzom Gedalia. Is that going to be an issue for everybody, or no? Can we learn on Tzom Gedalia or no? I could learn.
I think it's okay.
I think it's okay. Okay, no problem. Okay, good. So we'll keep it for next. Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much. Any questions we could, you know, post in a group as we're going to be internalizing this material. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I was, you know, completely out. I was debating whether I should cancel the class or not. And I said, no, I'm going to have a revelation of my Atzmos.
Mila, you sound great.
This
You
was
sound great.
This was a gift. I am so thankful. This was a gift right before Rosh Hashanah. Like, this is just amazing. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All the best.